It's 11:59 at Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Welcome, everybody, to our Daily Gun Show. Come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern, approximately, and we talk about guns for an hour. However, we used to be able to do that. We can't do that anymore because I got a call earlier, and it turns out our Second Amendment has been repealed, and there is no more Second Amendment. There's no more prevention of the government from creating laws that infringe on the right to own a firearm. There is no more right to own a firearm. So what do we do now that there's no more Second Amendment? We're going to chat about that tonight. We've got people joining us from all over the country that come from gun channels, a community we built back when we had a Second Amendment, to talk about those things that are called guns. We're going to have to turn them in by the end of the week. So we will have to talk about what it was like to have guns back in the day. But we have Clover Tech from Texas. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for the invite, G.
Dead Horse jumping in from Utah. Thanks for joining.
Howdy.
He used to like guns a lot. Gizzard jumping in from Kansas. Thanks for joining.
Hello, thanks for the invite.
I bet you're gonna have to erase the gun off that logo, by the way. And then we got Woods jumping in from Pacific Northwest. Your logo's okay. There's no guns in it. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for the invite.
And we got Snob jumping in from Oklahoma. We'll also have to change his logo, get rid of those guns on there.
Well, I am an official disposal site for your firearms you need to turn in. I'll put my address in the chat.
So we got no more Second Amendment. What's the world like? What happens now?
I'm going to turn all mine into lamps.
And this is an interactive thing. So anybody who might be watching, feel free to take part in the conversation here.
I presume you're going to have to change the name of gun channels.
Yeah, something more appropriate.
Well, are like water guns and airsoft guns, paintball
I'm going to
guns?
call it fun channels, and we'll talk about things that are more fun than guns were anyway.
What guns? I don't have any guns.
How do we? How are they going to collect up all the guns now? You think it's going to be like a kind of recycle bin? You know, some of us will take a couple of bins to dump them all, but do they take all the guns and only have people who are, I don't know, somehow vetted so that they're safe to disarm them, and then let those people who've been deemed safe to have the guns, because maybe they don't like guns or something, make them or pay them a lot of money to grab garbage trucks and pick these things all up? I mean, how are we going to get rid of these guns? It can't be up to the individual to get rid of them.
Could they fly around with drones that had like huge magnets on them and just like, yeah, suck them up?
I guess drones aren't heavy, you know, they're not strong enough to lift up hardly anything, so I don't think they're gonna be able to do metal.
Just have everybody throw their guns in their backyard, and then all they gotta do is like fly over. They could fly over with with like a chopper or something, and just
Like a helicopter could certainly do something like that. But you're gonna trust everybody, just put them in their backyard, sort of like when you have bulk trash collection, like throw your guns in the back, and we're gonna come get them some night when we're chasing. Well, there won't be, or will there be crime anymore that there's no guns? That should.
Oh, it's gone. Yeah, it's gone. There's no more crime.
Just put them out by the curb and send your address to me, and I'll be by to pick them up tomorrow.
So what's people like Sarge going to do?
Cops that used to run around preventing gun crime.
Billy clubs, man.
They won't need guns, right? So
will we even need cops?
Probably for like traffic things, because there's still going to be drunks, right?
Well, they still got to serve. They just don't have to protect anymore, right?
That's a good point. Yeah. So like, you know, they'll get your like Amazon thing, like, oh, Amazon guy left it way over there, and you'll call the cops and they'll bring it to your door.
Or if McDonald's is out of chicken nuggets, you know, I mean, they've still got to handle that kind of stuff, right?
Somebody's got to pay for that.
Well, what about all these gun ranges? What are we going to do with those? I mean, are they going to become like Frisbee courses or something like that? Or
golf courses. I think you'll have to talk to Ghost. I think Ghost has already got that market cornered, and he's turning it all into golf courses. So,
driving ranges.
Yeah. Sure.
So gun shops, just shut them down. They're not a big deal.
Tiki bars.
Pro stores for the golf. Well, you got gun shops, so you got to have pro shops for all the golf clubs and stuff.
Yeah, you'll have more golf courses now. So yeah, some more sports.
And probably more golf players because all these people that used to, shoot guns are out there hitting golf balls now.
What do you do with the ammo? Do you take apart the ammo that already exists? Because all these crazy paranoids, right? The violence, they would hoard this ammo. They would have hundreds of rounds of ammo, each one of them. What do you do with all that? That has to come out to thousands and thousands of rounds of ammo that are just in the hands of,
Oh yeah, we can't have that.
So do you can't magnet that because they figured out ways to make it non-magnetable, with lead and brass or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, that's heavy and has to be picked up. So I think you still need to have some sort of like garbage trucks or.
You're just going to get a burn barrel and put it in your backyard and get a good hot fire going and then just dump all your ammo in it at once.
Well, but hold on. Are we just going to burn lead? And what about the gunpowder? Can't you use the gunpowder for some other like peaceful use?
Fireworks? Well, I mean, you can treat if I remember Rambo correctly, you can treat a gunshot wound, right? It's got medical purposes, right?
But there's not going to be gunshot wounds.
Yeah, there won't be gunshot wounds.
Well, that's true, but it would work for a stab wound, though. It basically cauterized the wound. So
you really think that if you finally get rid of guns, like now that by the end of the week,
I mean, if there's no guns, why would
somebody going to stab somebody? Why? Because what are they going to get mad about?
Yeah, because
guns are violence because of jealousy. Like, oh, I got a 9mm, but I wish I had a 45 ACP, so I'm going to shoot that other person.
Yeah, that's true.
But you get a bunch of guys running around with a lot of extra money in their pockets because they're not spending on guns anymore.
That is a good point.
Turn to drugs or
probably.
Be people living in a lot nicer homes and driving a lot nicer cars. Probably.
Is it going to be okay to have guns in video games? Is that like a problem? Like, are we allowed to? Are the kids?
Well, that's got to go too. No more Fortnite or all that.
That's the first thing that should go.
Because they're going to 3D print it. They're going to play their video game, get them mad at somebody else because they hate, right? And they're going to turn around and make a 3D gun right there. Right?
Or worse yet, they're going to bite their Pop-Tart into the shape of a gun and take it to school. We can't have that.
And then Woods will have to suspend them for it.
Oh, yeah, they better not. Any reference to guns at school, man, that's it. You're out.
Yeah, it seems like a real difficult thing because it's not like you want a drawing of a gun on the wall to tell the kids what not to do, but at the same time, you need a drawing on the wall to prove that they've done something horribly violent by chewing it accidentally into that shape.
So what do we do with the sign that I have to walk by because it's got a gun on it?
That's what I'm saying. You got a Pop-Tart shootout sign gun thing? I wouldn't want to walk around in that kind of environment. No, oppressive environment like that.
And classic radio have stopped playing Guns N' Roses and stuff like that too. So.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it, right? Like, that being in the culture. How many words do we have to get rid of?
Oof, a
Shoot
bunch.
the breeze, like that's just violent.
Yes.
Can't have staple guns anymore. They're going to have to be electronic staple devices or something like that.
Staple projectors.
Mm-hmm.
Staple,
glue gun, grease gun.
That's why there's so many violence in machine shops.
That's right.
So do you think that going forward, things like drills and caulk devices should be more in the cylindrical shape instead of the shape of a pistol grip? Because that lends itself to being used like a gun, or they're going to think about guns when they use those kind of devices, I feel like.
Yeah, or what about your cleaning products, your Windex and your 409? I mean,
yep, can't.
And they're even worse. They have a selector switch on them.
Anything with a trigger's got to go.
So there's even a selection for spray, like spray and then they pray.
A stream and a spray on there for a good.
I know. I spray it. And I hope and pray all the dandelions die.
It could be mist instead of spray, but they use a violent word like spray with Y's in it.
Right. Yeah, mist would be so much a much beautifuler word.
But again, I feel like moms are going to be in the kitchen and squirting something, or somebody's in the bathroom spraying something. They're going to feel violent with that like weapon, right? Super smokers, those kind of things, got to go, right?
Airsoft. Our grandparents survived without any of that. We can do it too.
Well, I mean, you have to go to the garden wands instead of the sprayer on the water hose too. You have to have a wand now because a wand is like a fairy has, a wand. It's just
I
so
like that.
it's so much more peaceful.
A misting wand. Like, how can you
Yeah.
even hurt somebody with a misting wand?
Right. Yeah.
All you have to do is just come to Oklahoma. We don't
spray
need to water
gun.
our gardens.
Sounds violent. Movies. We've kind of talked about video games. Movies. Is it
All chick flicks. Be all chick flicks.
rom-coms? A lot more rom-coms.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I mean, they can have action movies, but like, are they allowed to like use a banana, or is that like,
Too far.
signifying something too violent?
Nothing that could go in a holster.
Well, I mean, there won't be any. Nobody's going to be thinking about violence. Guns was the whole reason violence existed in the first place. So
Well,
it'll be a utopia.
Can it happen again, or like if you forget the stuff that was violent, won't it re-happen? Or if you forget it, it can't happen again?
No, if you forget it, it's gone. Right? It's never going to come back. Why would
Now, Rob D has a good point. What about nail guns? Because I mean, I do construction for a living. Am I back to a hammer and nail? Can't use my nail gun.
That's too violent. That's a blunt object. What are you talking about?
A hammer is kind of violent because there's more hammers. I've heard.
And what did that poor nail do to you to be hitting the nail so hard? You're going to have to find another profession. That's just too violent.
Maybe you could talk with the nail and ask if it feels like going into the wood, and then
get it to sign a waiver on each nail.
Does the nail identify as the nail?
If you watch the documentary Lethal Weapon, you'll see what damage a nail gun can do to a person.
Yeah, I own a few of those pass load impulses. They're pretty good. I've shot at animals and people and other things with them, like my wife on accident one time.
So in football, is a quarterback going to have to always stay directly behind the center because they can't go into a shotgun formation anymore?
Yep.
I don't know what a shotgun. I mean, people forget, luckily, what a shotgun is. But yeah, I feel like it's gonna bring back memories that we shouldn't condone, right? We shouldn't.
Yeah. You guys are all wrong that there's not going to be football because football is kind of a violent impact sport, and when they get rid of, whenever the guns are all gone, everybody's going to forget about violence and all this.
So just start playing without pads. That'll stop all that.
It'll be like a powder puff game all the time.
Just give them flags.
Actually, I think we're all going to turn into like martial artists. Just based on like what happened in China, they took all the guns. Like everyone became karate crazed.
I'm gonna study Zen personally, and I'm gonna learn all the words to Kumbaya.
When they, they've already said about a tournament or to get rid of them by the end of the week. How long realistically is it going to take for a country of 360 million people with something like millions of guns? How long is it going to take them to be rounded up, and then once they're rounded up, disposed of to where they're not guns anymore, recycled or whatever? We talking like weeks? Is there anything precedent?
Australia.
They disposed of them.
Oh yeah, Australia. Did anybody know how it actually went down in Australia? I mean, was it literally like garbage trucks and they all dumped them somewhere and poured concrete on them, or was it like they sat around grinding them like Benchmade, every single one, and with a grinder? That would take forever.
Australia got every gun in the country out within like a week or two, I think.
They just put them on a boat and sell them to us, or did they dump them in the ocean? They probably dumped them in the. Well, if they dump them in the ocean, people will go get them, right?
They crushed and grinded them up just like they do cars.
Oh, in a big giant coffee grinder, basically, where it's got the spinning drum with all the little knobs, and it just destroys everything that falls into it. Yep. That's sad. That's sad. So that would make sense, though. So those things are all over the place to destroy cars because of Obama killed all cars from the 70s, right? So they've got those. And I imagine, do you think that they can be used immediately, or do they need to be retrofitted? Because something like a tiny gun, like those little prostitute guns that you give to babies, they're tiny. So are they going to fall through the teeth of a shredder? Like, you're going to need
Nope. Everything comes out the size of a quarter. If you've ever seen that, like nothing comes out bigger than a quarter. So as long as the gun's bigger than a quarter, it's going to get damaged.
Okay, so it's got more than one. Those first teeth that you see are just the like initial teeth that destroy a sofa, but it still goes through and destroys everything down to a quarter.
Yep, and it kind of spaghettifies everything. Everything comes out a lot longer and extruded almost.
So you think that's what you're going to end up with? Plastic and solvents and steel and Zamic and aluminum and whoever, scandiums, right? Somebody was talking about buying a tiny lightweight revolver. Crazy. So is it possible to do that and then reclaim the recyclables, or is it better to like disassemble Smith and Wesson scandium guns and shred the scandium separate than the stainless. And that would
I think they need to bury it all because they're all evil. Even though they're shredded, it's still evil. So they still need to bury it.
Realistically, though, we don't want to waste the environment and just destroy resources. So if we got a lot of guns, like a lot of guns in this country, that's a heck of a lot of resource. And we spend a lot of time mining that, and we don't want to have to go mine new stuff and fill landfills. So it makes more sense to recycle.
Yeah, but think about it. I mean, we're dealing with these inanimate objects that are absolute evil. So if you take and recycle that into, like, say, a lawnmower or something, I mean, that lawnmower is going to be evil at that point. Then we got to ban lawnmowers and get rid of them.
It'll be like Transformers. If you make a gun into a lawnmower, the lawnmower is going to turn on you and have to fight it, and we won't have guns to fight it with.
The evil doesn't go away because it's shredded down.
Well, that makes when we've talked a bit about how long it's going to take and that kind of thing and what some of the other things, but it's not brought up a good point there. Guns in this country have to be gone by the end of the week. So Saturday, Sunday, there's going to be those stragglers, those like, not me, right? Like night strike shall not be infringed. It'll take till Sunday for him to give up his guns. So then next Monday, when we're gun free, what are the other countries going to do? We know that Tijuana is literally the most dangerous city on the planet, and that's a stone's throw from San Diego, literally across a wall from San Diego. What happens with these other countries that haven't been enlightened to our level and still have guns?
But the government still has guns. We just don't have them.
No, we're getting rid of all guns, dude. We're getting rid of guns. The concept of violence, not just civilians, but everyone. We don't need guns in this country. We're going to give them bigger billy clubs, but they're not going to need guns, dude.
Well, Gary's going to go over there and play his guitar and play Kumbaya on the border.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they'll see the example, right? Because we're the shining example on the hill, and they'll eventually do the same thing. All the other countries are doing it with fossil fuels, and they're doing it with coal, and they're doing it with the whole global warming thing. All these other countries are following our lead and doing all these things for the environment. They'll follow our lead on this.
And we're going to have to scrap every warship.
But
we're going to have to scrap every warship.
Well, you can just
every warship that the Navy has, we're going to have to scrap. Every military base.
You just sink them where you need a coral reef, dude, and now you get a coral reef. So the warships are easy to get rid of. Even the tanks, you just throw the tanks in the water where you want a coral reef. That's easy.
Yeah.
What about all the military bases overseas?
We give those back because that's basically colonializing, right? We've taken land from them. Come on.
Yeah, that's not ours. Sure.
Yeah, and why are we going to police the world? What do we care if the rest of the world turns communist or something? That's not our business.
Are we keeping our nukes?
No, that's a gun.
Of course not.
The first thing we got rid of. We're going to sell the nuclear materials to Russia so that they can innovate and grow. And then
Iran's been looking for some nuclear energy sources, so we can make them a deal on it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That's a good idea. Yeah, maybe if we give them like boxcars of cash and all of our nuclear supplies, they'll give us something in return.
Mm-hmm. They'll give us like a quart of oil.
Here we go. We don't need oil. Or I guess we'll still need oil because we haven't figured out that problem yet. But
that's the next week.
What do we do about knives? Is knives going to be an issue, or did we already talk about like violence will be gone because of the guns? Or do we?
I think if we get rid of knives, though, what's gonna happen during the day on gun channels?
That's true.
Well, what if we get ready? What if we get ready to get rid of knives? I mean, we'll already have the machines and the system and everything to get rid of the guns, but we'll just keep an eye on the knives because if it's like the knives become an issue, we'll just take those right away too. Like,
well, I mean, if you're gonna go down the road, if you're gonna go down the road of a knife, then at that point, I mean, we just make it universally accepted that all we can use as far as utensils is a spork.
Yeah. I hope your steak's tender because, sometimes they're hard to cook.
It depends on if the knife is a weapon knife or if it's a tool knife. So if it's a tool knife, then you can keep it. But if it's a weapon knife, then you got to turn it in.
Well, I assume we're going to follow the lead of the European Union or England and stuff and go ahead and just make it where kitchen knives are, regulated.
We should call London and ask them how they're doing.
Because it's the same thing. I mean, the military uses kitchen knives all the time, right?
As a vegan, I can tell you that you don't need knives if you eat plants. So when y'all change your habits, we'll not need all those violence.
Well, hey, that's true. Think about all the cows farting. Gee, that
that's
you know, we've got to deal with that too now. So
that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
But so we've got all these. We got rid of the guns finally. We're going to scrub them from our culture so that as we lead the way for the rest of the planet, not by force or anything, but by inspiration. We know no longer will violence be prevalent in that. What do we have to look forward to? What's a world, maybe in a week or two when there's just a world, at least in this country, the good part of the world, the world without guns. What do we have to look forward to? What's a recreational activity? What's a vacation like? Is there crime still? I mean, we have drunk drivers because of drunks, but is there going to be crime?
Home invasions, rapes, and burglaries climb 160% in the first month.
What? Why would that happen?
Oh, no way.
But they don't have guns, though.
He's just making up numbers, G. I mean, it'll be think about it. I mean, at that point we'll have no borders. Violence is gone. There's no violent intent in humanity anymore. We'll be able to board a plane and travel and see the world. And that's what it should be. And no borders, no more of this passport. Just get on the plane, go hang out wherever we want.
A one world government? Are we talking of a one world government here?
Might as well.
We can just travel everywhere.
Might as well. If nothing needs to be policed anymore. Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Gary was around in the '60s and was in the life whenever everything was just peace and love. So he probably knows how to do it. He can teach us how.
Yeah, I was like 8, 9 years old. Mm-hmm.
Well, you ought to remember the peace and love times, what it was like before we, went crazy with guns.
He's one of those little naked 8-year-old kids you see running around at a concert back then.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I could have been a Woodstock, man. I was 9 years old when that happened.
How many books are we going to have to burn?
You mean like gun manuals? And
all that.
Rise violence?
Well, anything with a gun in it.
Where do you draw the line? Like books about wars, right? Where they glamorize the exploits of wars and they try to, quote unquote, learn lessons from wars. We should get rid of those because they're just full of guns, right?
Well, in the revolution, I mean, there's a whole bunch of guns in the revolution. We got to get rid of all that.
Well, I'm sick of hearing about those slave owners anyway. White men. Right. Those people, they were out of touch. They didn't change anything.
I'm going to put out a new video tomorrow. It's going to be Watching My Grass Grow, version 847. It'll be lovely. I hope everybody watches it.
You have to watch it grow because you can't cut it anymore because the whole lawnmower is being possessed by gunmetal.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Can we get
That's what you do with the cows now that we're not eating them. You just
like India, they just walk free, right?
You cycle them into lawnmowers. That's a good point.
What are we eating then?
Grass.
I've got a lot of lawnmowers for sale.
Can you eat grass?
Yeah.
Every grass. Yeah.
You don't survive, but you can eat it all you want. Well, if you
guys are missing a lot of the benefits
if you try hard and develop 4 stomachs, perhaps. But anyway, we're getting off a topic.
You guys are missing some of the good advantages.
What's the advantages?
I was going to say our overpopulation problem. That's going to be fixed real quick.
How's that?
Well, just historically, just looking at gun control. I mean, just, look at the population bases of all the other countries that's, banned guns. And then look what happened to their population. So it's definitely a population control measure. Oh, that's a good thing, right?
You mean how the populations are going to swell because of guns can't be used to annihilate people in socialism?
Yeah. The population on your side, in your political party, is going to swell. Yes, definitely.
Well, my question is, who's going to let Shannon Watts live with them? Because Michael Bloomberg's going to have no reason to give her money, so she's going to be homeless.
Oh, she is going to be out of work. She could maybe do something about to remind people. Well, no, she's not supposed to talk about guns anymore. I was gonna say she could remind people about how guns were so bad that we, what they were like back when there were guns, but we don't really want to talking about that. Maybe she'll go back to Monsanto and work full time for Monsanto, where she came from. Because she was an executive at Monsanto before she worked for Bloomberg.
Will guns become a word that just the word that nobody says?
Is it going to be punishable to talk about guns? Is it going to be illegal?
It'll be like
Like the G word or something? Like
it'll be like VHS tapes or like horse carriages. People will know what you mean, but they just don't know what to do with them or whatever. They're like, oh, I think that was for watching movies, right? Or something.
You'll be shunned if you speak of them.
Yeah, you walk into a room and say that, and everybody will just immediately hush.
Like, he's a gunist.
So it'd be like being the worst racist ever.
Yeah.
What else do we got in a world without guns? What other aspects of it?
I like what Clover was talking about, how you could just get in a plane and fly anywhere because you wouldn't need TSA anymore.
Oh,
What about helping the environment? Like, we're not going to be putting all that deadly lead into the ground and into our water supplies.
Mm-hmm. Condors everywhere, flying around like pigeons.
And I'd have to go from being the tactical chicken to the practical chicken, I suppose.
You wouldn't need to be tactical anymore.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he's going to show us what you can do with old safes and stuff now that you don't need them to store, those things we can't speak of anymore in.
What are all the trainers going to do?
All the what?
All the gun trainers.
They're going to be golf pros.
Huh.
We already.
Voda's gonna be the best golf pro ever, probably. He may go to work with Ghost. They may team up.
Could you imagine somebody like James Yeager teaching golf? That would be. You need training. Look, you can't even hit that ball. But then you'd have golf clubs. Wouldn't that be violent?
Well, that's sketchy.
Lacking stuff. We could have golf that's more like, has like a roof over it, so that the projectiles that can have an opportunity to get out past the how there's netting at a driving range. You can just have netting like that over the golf courses also.
Yeah, and the golf clubs can just stay at the range, and you just check them out when you need them.
There's no big golf.
Ever been at a bank where they have that little curly cord on the pen? They'll just have a little curly cord at the tee, and we'll just use a golf club at the tee and just leave it there.
I think we're overthinking it. I mean, once the firearms are gone and all this sense of colonialism and imperialism and owning, private citizens being able to own acres and acres of land for golf courses, I think everything just goes to putt-putt. You can do that all on a couple acres. Come on.
Mm-hmm. That's true, because you can't really make a giant golf course on like a handgun range, and there's a whole.
And
bunch
there's no reason to have 12 different golf clubs when you only need one putter.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It will do everything you need to do.
And look at how much
the guns
more
into the putters.
And look at how much more inclusive it is with the arrangement. How much more inclusive and fun it is, right? With the putt ranges. Come on.
Takes a lot of the skill out of there, so that's always good. That will complain.
My favorite golf course in Branson, though, that's going to go out of business because it has a hound dog holding a water gun and pointing at you and sprays you. So
what?
Yeah, water gun's got to go.
That's going to go. It doesn't even have an orange tip.
Yeah.
What kind of nonsense is that?
So are we just saying like anything with a trigger's probably got to go, right? Crossbows.
You won't even be able to shop at Target anymore because
Well, that's interesting. Is it the part of the gun that makes it violent? Is the part that you can hide it and use it, or is it the part that a projectile flies? And where would archery fit into this? Because archery doesn't look nothing like a gun, but it has the ability to kill silently. So is it because of the violence that we got rid of guns? Should we go after archery because of the potential violence there? Or is it the accessibility and the ability for a gun to allow, like a single mom or a person who's injured or an elderly or even a child who's, aware of how to use the thing? It allows all those people to defend themselves, right? Equally. That whole like cult made everyone equal thing. Well, archery kind of does that, not as well as a gun, right? You can't just put a gun in your pocket and go live your life and deter crime by never having to interact at all with them. But with a bow and arrow, you could ninja or Robin Hood violently through a neighborhood, just poking people with arrows all day long, right? Probably killing them.
Well, it's not like back in the day people like use those for violence or anything. So
No, but after guns now, that might happen. So where does archery fall? Once you get rid of guns, couple of weeks from now, guns are gone. Do we go after archery? Do we wait for archery to become a problem? Or is it like guns? We've got to get rid of them first.
well, I think we can wait because we have to probably take crossbows out because longbows and composite bows are harder to use.
No, we just need to nip this off before it starts. There's no reason to let it start.
We just need an NBA, a National Bow Act, to set logical, requirements and regulations. So your bow can't be over a certain length and can't have a certain draw length, and just, obviously that's the answer.
It shouldn't be small bows. I've seen Road Warrior, and if you have a little tiny bow on your wrist, that's deadly. So they can't be too little. And big bows, you don't need that to hunt. So, right, they should be like 15 to 25 pound draw, and then like large enough to be obnoxious, but never small enough to be useful, right?
Well, we've got to get rid of the bows that all these stores sell around Christmas time, the little crossbow pistol things with the little bolts and a little package for $15, because those are just like Sunday night specials or something.
Right. I feel like those should have already been banned with the guns. Even though they're crossbows, they look too much like a gun.
So anything with a pistol grip's got to go.
That was gone with the guns, though. So now we're into archery, and if we should still allow people to have bows. Clover's not saying nothing because I feel like he doesn't care about guns anymore, of course, but he cares about bows, and he's not saying nothing about it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think the mere mention of banning bows with all the cultural appropriation on Native Americans, I find that abhorrent right now.
Oh, that's a good point. So there's nothing about firearms that has anything to do with any culture on this planet. It's just psychopaths and murderers. Right. And guilt and greedy corporate elitists. So the only people that have any interest in guns in the whole world. But yeah, you have a good point. Like a bow and arrow has such deep roots with some peoples that even talking about bows as if we have some sort of authority over them is shameful, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's super. I understand the awesome logic there. Totally makes sense.
I feel that's almost racist to ban bows.
At the same time, they're horribly violent because they can kill silently. I mean, I'm worried about ninjas. In Arizona, we had, unfortunately, the gun owners got rid of the Chaco laws that we had for a long time. Chacos were illegal here, and that's why we didn't have ninja deaths. But if we're going to allow these bows because of cultural reasons, quote unquote, to be legal, ninjas are going to appropriate them again, and there's going to be ninja deaths everywhere.
So let's just ban the ninjas.
That doesn't make sense. I feel like banning.
Well, if you banned the outfit though, how could they move around in secret?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
if you ban the ninja outfit, then you'd have to ban the burqa, so that's not going to work.
That makes no sense.
Well, the burqa's a dress.
No, the burqa's the headpiece, isn't it? Is it?
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah, I guess the burqa is the yeah.
Because you can wear like burqa with a pantsuit, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
But I don't really know. It might be some sort of a shawl or something all incorporated. I really don't know. Rob is asking, what if he identifies as a gun? Well, that's a mental problem. And if,
Sure.
number one, it would prevent you from owning a gun, but there are no more guns, so that's okay. But should he be taken off the streets because of
Yes.
I was going to
Yeah.
run around with something like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not
He
that
said
we
the evil
want to.
word.
Now I've got an important question. This is close and dear to my heart. What about my high point? I mean, nobody in their sane mind identifies that as a gun. So is it safe?
What are you
Nope.
doing over there? You climbing up a ladder?
Is it a cosplay gun? Like,
No, those got to go too.
Oh yeah, you can't cosplay a gun. Any kind of toy guns and all that stuff is gone, right? You don't have toy other murder weapons. There's not toy knives or toy hatchets or
Toy swords.
toy rope. Yeah, none of that stuff happens.
Guillotines.
Budget had a good point. What do we think about slingshots?
You know what? There's a pistol grip on it, and they shoot a projectile, and they're violent. Is there
So it's
anything?
going to get rolled into the Bow Act.
No, I think the Gun Act, right? Is there anything useful that a slingshot could do except get you into the inevitable spiral of gun ownership? Is there any
No.
other way out?
It clearly has a pistol grip. It's got to, yeah. Gotta go.
And then there's those kinds with the shoulder thing that goes up that make them even more powerful, like a sniper's.
Well, those are assault ones, aren't they?
Probably. A lot of times they're black and have foam rubber on them. All right, so we talked about what it's going to be like for the rest of the world after we lead the way and get rid of guns. But 10 years down the road, what's the world like once there's world peace, I guess, because there's no more violence and stuff?
Because everybody else gave up their guns too, because of our shining example.
We hope so.
Well, yeah, they're going to follow our lead. I mean, there might be one or two countries that kind of hold out a little longer.
I mean, is there any other consequence? Is there a possible other consequence than other countries will just go, oh, they've got a good idea over there?
Nah, they wouldn't try to come here and take all our stuff.
We're doing it because of Australia did it, right? And Britain did it. So that's what it is, right? It's like a peaceful disease. Like we finally caught the peaceful disease, and other countries will also catch it. I guess we'll rub up against them. It'd be like pink eye, except with like peace eye.
I don't know. Maybe some countries hate us so much that if we're like, okay, all guns are banned, then they might legalize guns just to go against us.
Wait, what are you saying? That if we got rid of all guns, they could come over here with a big sharp stick and just take over the whole country?
Pretty much, yeah.
Wait a minute. They wouldn't want to, though. They'd feel like that would be wrong or inappropriate, right?
They don't speak English, so like, how can we even communicate that to
Wait a
them?
minute. Are you even suggesting they might even have different social ways so that doesn't even seem inappropriate to them to just wail on somebody because they can?
Well,
we
yeah,
already gave them
it's
all
their
our-
culture.
Weird. I feel like if we grew up being aware of each other and not wailing on each other just because we can, I feel like the rest of the world must be that way. It has to be that way everywhere.
I'm starting to get the idea that Dead Horse is one of those holdouts, one of those gun nuts. I think he needs to be out of here.
Do you think that a whole bunch of people in this country, after the end of the week when guns are illegal, will leave this country and go to where these, like Dead Horse, where these countries where they're holdouts and they allow guns, like Canada probably, just out of spite and ignorance and violence?
Mexico.
And Texas, don't forget the country of Texas.
Gary, we're not talking about Mexico because we only talk about wealthy countries. We don't talk about countries like Mexico because they don't fit our paradigm. So no one's going to go to Mexico. Maybe for vacation.
Well, they'll have time to finish a wall, that's for sure.
We can make a wall with all the guns, maybe, like weld all the guns into a fence.
There's an idea.
We'll just create tariffs. We'll just make tariffs against countries that
Did
don't
you
want
say
to
we're
make
going to
guns
create
illegal.
terrorists or tariffs?
Tariff.
Oh.
We'll make tariffs, like trading tariffs, like 5% tax on all of our trades on countries that don't want to ban guns with us. So we'll just tax them to death.
We're going to confuse the shit out of YouTube algorithms. Clover, is that a possibility that the Daily Gun Show will flip out the logarithm? Al Gore, will you flip out?
I don't think so. No. He knew what he was doing.
If I wrote all this stuff, it might, if I had a complete description of some sort of transcript of all this and turn the transcripts thing on or something, it might screw a little bit because of everything else I do on the show is opposite, right?
Well, I mean, the algorithm.
This one gets promoted.
Yeah, that'd be funny if this one gets all kinds of views, all kinds of comments like, "You guys are great. I wish this was reality." Blah, blah, blah.
Except for why do y'all have pictures of guns though? That just bothers me.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that first guy. You should get rid of all those pictures of guns. Will we allow people to drink booze? Patriots saying Budweiser Farms in St. Louis has a fence made out of old Civil War muskets. Really beautiful, but a shame. So maybe that's where I got it, because now that you said that, I think I have been there, and I think I remember something like that. But in the future, next week, when guns are completely gone, we know they're illegal as of today, and by Friday, we're supposed to turn them all in or destroy them. The holdouts will probably last until Monday. But next week, guns are going to be gone. So is that going to affect alcohol or any kind of driving laws or anything? Like, now that we got the violence issue kind of figured out, is it okay to let younger kids drink and stuff now because we don't have to worry about them grabbing a gun when they get mad?
I'd say, yeah, sure. Go down to like 15. They're totally responsible. I know I was responsible when I was 15.
Is it possible if you let a kid drink when they're 15, they'll figure out how to drink and not get all drunk when they're 16, you'll start letting them drive?
Yep.
Well, the earlier you start them drinking, I mean, everybody knows this. I mean, the science is spoken. The earlier you start them drinking, the better they can handle their liquor.
No, that's what I figure, right? And they're not going to be like crazy, like, hey, we just got a car and license to drink, so let's go buy booze and drive around. If they've been drinking already, it's like, oh yeah, we can drink, but we can drive now, and they won't worry about drinking.
Welcome to the non-gun logo there, Gary.
That's my new logo.
Oh, that's a nice one.
I feel the love in that logo.
I feel like those chicks are going to live in a world without guns.
Yep.
Finally. Okay, so Angelina's saying if you catch, even though she has links both on the gun channel side and in the email, right? She's still out there on the YouTube side for whatever reason, not joining the chat. She says if you catch your kids drinking, you're supposed to make them drink a whole bottle of alcohol. So a couple of weeks from now, guns are a thing of the past, right? You find that your kid somehow got a gun and he's out there in the backyard fiddling with it. Do you make that kid shoot like a whole box of ammo to teach him a lesson?
Where are you going to get the ammo?
Let's assume that there's some government agency that'll supply it if necessary for teaching a kid a lesson like that.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And then that kid will be shamed when he gets to school.
Well, did we already talk about how many words, phrases need to come out of the language?
Straight shooter, that's got to go.
That one shouldn't be in there now. I mean, it's super sexist. And
Well, I mean, we could go over the bullet points, I guess. Oh, wait a minute.
quit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was too far.
So what is our target demographic? Well, I can't say that either.
We could just shoot the priest. Oh, wait. All right, well, so due to Dano crapping on this whole thing, I think we're going to end it. And that means we got to end the entire Daily Gun Show. So that just happened. Tomorrow is Tomorrow is Free Patch Friday. Not every Friday matters because that's how they do it. But it'll be Free Patch Friday and all kinds of new stuff over at the store. Desperately need funding for things since we've been doing stuff that costs money. So encourage anyone to explore the shop. Matt's got some patches over there. We're doing the same kind of thing we did with Mr. Knives. So if you'd like to support Matt's projects, you buy a patch over there for $25. $20 goes to Matt. But keep in mind, $20 goes to Matt. The Gear website store basically doesn't make anything because we're shipping the thing. So if you buy something like a Matt's patch, feel free to buy something else, right? Any order of $25 or more gets a free patch anyway. So appreciate that. And what do you guys got going on? Gary's got a show tomorrow.
Yep, I got a show tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and then Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. 2 shows. On the Sunday show will be, by the way, on Every Second Matters, if that still matters.
So
Well, that's Sunday. It's over with. There is no reason to have every second.
we'll have one out of nostalgia. So I sent out a reminder on the 15th-ish. So I'll send one out. Thanks for that reminder, Gary. I'll send one out this week still to get people aware, and we'll see if we can't get so it's Sunday. So, it's always better odds to get people to show up on a weekend. Not always, but it can be. So I'll send out a reminder that second's coming. If Gary does a morning show, maybe that can get people that are up early, and then we can, if anybody's interested, Every Second Matters is not a proprietary thing. It's supposed to be a collaborative effort. So anybody who wants to participate, feels like doing a show or starting a show or something, Sunday's potentially a good day to bring people into the mix that are off that day, right?
Yep.
Clover, Friday? Is the first?
Friday.
No, it's the last Friday of the month, so recorded show?
Yeah, it'll be a recorded podcast. Yeah, which I did book the guest for next month's live Firearm Friday today. So I'm not going to give that out yet, but yeah. Tomorrow's a produced podcast. Skip, which most everybody probably, hopefully listening, probably has heard of Skip's Tactical. She's a pretty cool chick. She'll be on the podcast tomorrow.
Trying to read and talk, so that created dead air. Angelina, you've got another week? Or are we talking about that?
I moved it so I could go to a Cubs game, but yeah, I got like 2 weeks till I'm on the road to Chirac.
And all kinds of adventures back and forth, it sounds like.
Yeah, I got a lot of adventures planned, so should be fun.
Is IBL going to be on the road?
Maybe. Is it a week that happens? It might. If it does, I'm gonna do it from the road. So it'll definitely happen either way. The patches should be in on Monday. So if you want one of those super all glowy patches, follow the Instagram, I guess. I don't know what the URL is though. So that's useless, but yeah, that's it. Oh, and buy things from allenanchor.com. Because
you got to pay for luxury vacation somehow.
Yeah, I got to pay for all these roadside hotels somehow. So, and I guess I got to take Dano to dinner, or he's got to take me to dinner. So there's also that.
You know what would be a great companion on a road trip is 2 16-year-old kittens.
Where would I get those from?
I can hook you up.
Oh, yeah, I don't want that.
Let's see. Otherwise, just before the show, during Yankees show, actually, secured Liberty doll for next week, and Ken Blanchard is in the book, so we're going to be doing those 2 interviews next week. Lining one up on Thursday to talk with some of the heavy hitters about the NRA. There's some stuff happening kind of as we speak here, and hopefully the smoke will clear to some extent by next week, and we're setting one up for Thursday. And potentially something on Tuesday, if we can get everything worked out. And couple more emails waiting to hear back from. So stay tuned on the Patreon for that. Thank you very much to the Patreon supporters who allow the time for that effort. And thanks everybody for joining us tonight. I don't want to miss it. Anybody else have anything in the works that they want to plug? Snob, you got a show on Saturday?
Actually, I don't think I'm going to have a show this Saturday because I'm going to go out of town for my anniversary. So that's 2 in a row I missed. So, you know.
I remember when you did shows on Saturdays.
Yeah, there was a time. Maybe if I'm not busy, I'll do one. I'll take my laptop just in case.
All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, for joining in, participating, having some fun tonight. And we'll be back with episode, 830 tomorrow. Again, it's Free Patch Friday. All kinds of cool stuff at the store. We'll be adding more stuff tomorrow. Thanks, everybody, for watching.